Hey guys, welcome to the third Dashpong devlog. Let me start by saying I'm currently a bit sick, so excuse me if my voice is a bit weird. Anyway, Dashpong is a high-energy local multiplayer game where you must dash to create battles and use them to score goals. In this devlog, I'll show you various fixes and improvements, how I set up the project to integrate with Steam, and finally the new maps and the system I built to implement them. Without further ado, let's get started. Before starting, I made a new trailer with the new maps, so let me show you if you didn't see it already. Let's start with the small things I changed. I made quite a lot of fixes and improvements, and I won't list them all here. Each playtest, I'm taking notes on things that I need to change or fix. So, to talk about the important things, I fixed a bug where it was possible to score 2 goals at once if the ball bounced off a goal and went into another. I fixed another bug where it was possible to score a goal after the match was over. Sometimes the paddle were counted as created even though they were not, because they were too small. The match finish button could be triggered even though it was not on the screen because it was scaled to 0 and not invisible. I fixed a weird bug where the paddle were created at an angle and the next frame would snap to another angle even though there was nothing going on. I fixed it by instantiating the paddle as a child of a Node 2D with the correct position and rotation. That way I don't have to touch the paddle directly. I think the bug was caused because messing with rigid body's position or rotation directly is not a good idea, even at creation. And that's it for the fixes. I also made some improvements. I hit the cursor when playing. Now the auto dash will choose to go towards a paddle and not away from it. I changed the area of the ball for goal detection to a really small circle at the ball center. This gives more time to push the ball outside of the goals. I removed the ball rotation by increasing the rotation depth to maximum. It was not really visible, but the ball was sometimes rotating really fast, and when it collided with a wall, the bounce was weird. This was because the bounce was taking into account the rotation, so sometimes you would expect the ball to go in a certain direction, and it was doing the opposite. Removing the ball's ability to rotate made the collision much more easy to predict. I added a subtle blink effect to show the paddle is going to disappear. I added a very simple particle effect when the paddle disappears. I'll make it better in the future, is just a test to see if it's not too distracting. I've started to collect some user stats and I've displayed some of them in the match finished screen. This is very crude right now, I'll make it beautiful later. I think it's cool to see some stats for different players, and this will also be useful to set achievements on Steam. And that's it for the small improvements. The big thing I did was implement in-game the different map ideas I had. To make the process of adding new maps easier, I created a system. I have a base scene called base map with the necessary collision shapes and areas for goals. Then, when I want to add a new map, I simply create a new scene that inherits from this base scene. In the new scene, I can adjust the collision shapes to fit the maps, and that's it. Then, in my global script, I simply add the map to a list, and I can easily instantiate it when needed. Right now, this solution has worked quite well, and I was able to add multiple maps with relative ease. I also worked on a UI to select the maps. It's basically just a grid container with buttons containing a label for the map name and a texture rect for the image. I changed the modulate color to something more opaque, and I show the label, and when it's in focus, I remove the color and remove the label to see the map better. Once you press on a map, I simply get the button index map selected to it. Once the game is starting, I can access the maps list and use the map selected index to load the right map and connect the various signals. And with that, I have a simple map system with which I can easily add or update maps. It will probably evolve in the future, and for that I would simply add some functionalities to the base map scene. I tested the maps during playtest with my girlfriend, and let me tell you, they are awesome. Each map brings something different. For example, corner goals is the first map that led us to a timeout. The goals are so small it's harder to score. This forces you to take more time to aim your goals. On the contrary, maps such as Hexagon 1 and 2 are much easier to score. It creates really dynamic and short games. One of my favorite map is Longi. Some interesting tricks. And you, what is the one you're most interested by? I'll add a lot more in the future, so if you have ideas, please don't hesitate to share them with me. To use the Steamworks API, I'm using the Godot Steam module, and this requires having a custom Godot version. It's way too hard to keep two different projects, so I thought the best way would be to have a Steam branch with the Steam specific code. But I didn't have GitHub set up yet, so it was time to finally do it. When I first made the prototype, it was just a prototype, so setting up Git was not a priority. But as I continued working on the project, it became risky. So I took the time to set up a private repo on GitHub and also create a daily backup of my project. So right now I have a local copy, a remote repo on GitHub, and a daily automatic backup on another disk. In the future, I also make sure to have a backup on my remote server. So my Git setup is really simple for now. I have a master branch on which I'm working and a Steam branch. When I work on implementing the Steam features, I will just switch to this branch, pull the changes from master, and implement the various Steam features. And with that done, I was able to make a first test using the Steam API to make sure everything worked. I can connect to Steam, set achievements, and also use the remote play together functionality. Talking about that, I made a first test with my laptop. Basically, all I need is to launch the Steam version of Dashpong, and as you can see, the overlay tells me that the remote play together is available. At this point, I can just send a request to my laptop and the streaming starts. As a dev, I don't have to do anything because Steam will stream the game to the remote PC and get the inputs from the remote player. My game is just receiving inputs and it doesn't know it's coming from someone else on the internet. The first test was pretty good and it got me confident it would be possible to game using this feature. I made a second test with my girlfriend this time on her PC and it works just fine. If you have a good and reliable internet connection, it should work without any problem. For Steam, I also made some progress about the achievements. I made 22 achievements icons and I tested the Steam API to set achievements. It worked fine, but I didn't see the in-game pop-up telling me I got the achievement. I'll need to sort that out in the future. Well guys, that's the end of the third devlog. I hope you liked it. In the next devlog, I'll show you some work on the training and special modes. If you like Dashpong, please wishlist it on Steam, it helps me a lot. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more or join the Discord. In the meantime, have a great day and I see you later. Bye!